Hello, this is the TradeSite US stocks and futures market preview for the week beginning Monday, June 3rd, ending Friday, June 7th, 2019. Welcome to June already. One more month and we're halfway through 2019. Is that even possible? Here's a look at the ES front month futures contract. This is the daily chart of the broad market and futures form. Nothing pretty here. We've been talking about the expectations here that we would break this static trend line, and we did. And nothing is pretty from that perspective. Let's go through the daily chart. So again, this was a key area we were watching, and it broke down. It doesn't look pretty at all. We got a big gap down here on Friday, which is unusual for the end of the month. Could have led to something major, but it didn't. And we'll look at the intraday action and see, but nothing really happened after the gap down, which is interesting. So we didn't get. This is not the way we wanted this to play out. The last day of the month of May, when people are usually just printing their statements and going home, and instead didn't get that opportunity. So let's take a look at everything else here. Crude oil down $3.23. That's a nice drop. That should help prices at the pump over the summer. It's an interesting time of year for crude oil to be dropping. Might mean that the economy is slowing, but 53.36 for crude. Gold, however, big move up. Remember that 13 buy signal we got a couple of days ago? Well, there's your money if you bought into that thing. It's up 17.8. That's a big move for gold. S&P cash index loses 36.8. So remember, there was a gap down. We closed a little bit lower. NDX, the NASDAQ 100 down 117.44. This is bad territory for both of these things. And while we didn't get the breakdown because we were set up, I mean, usually I wouldn't overtrade or try to trade too much on the last day of the month and going into May on a Friday, sorry. But, we gapped down huge and we started to head lower. So we put up some calls because you want to try to be involved in case that turns into a meltdown. Less likely that it would, I guess, because it's month end. Had it been the prior week with options expiration, I think we would have been in trouble here. We may still be in trouble next week and beyond, but it didn't turn into anything here intraday. SOX down 19.11 again. Still, this thing's been hurting for a while. The biotech's down 56.98, almost new lows for the year. Russell 2000 down 20.04. The VIX gains 1.41 up to 1871 on the close. The trend 1.27. Puts the 10-day at 1.15. NASDAQ volume 2.2 billion shares. It's fine, but nothing special. Advanced decline ratio on the NASDAQ is negative 15.47. So way more stocks down than up. Look at that advanced decline ratio from 10-day moving average too, by the way. It's the lowest it's been all year since January 1st. And starting to get into the territory we saw last year when we dipped hard in the markets. Same thing on the New York, negative 1062. The average is negative 463. Google loses 14.91, most of it on the gap. It actually closed above where it opened. Apple down $3.23. Nothing pretty there. Netflix down 18.57. This one looks pretty ugly, to be honest. And this thing could be melting down soon enough. Amazon down 41.25. That's new lows for the last 3 months. Tesla down 306. This thing's been sliding for a while now. Facebook down 5.54. Goldman Sachs down 4.88. Going in towards filling that gap finally, and this thing could be negative for the year soon enough. TLT, the 20-year bond ETF, up to $1.63. Bonds just keep running. The interest rates are heading lower. Fed funds rate is now saying that the Fed will lower interest rates in September. Remember, they were talking about continuing to raise rates throughout this year and beyond. Just 6 months ago. Then they stopped. Now they're talking about the Fed funds rate is saying that they will lower rates in September. So that is plenty interesting by itself. We'll see if that happens. The Dow down 354 points. All right, let's look at the intra-week action. So we're going to switch to 10-minute candles. But remember, it was a short week because of the Monday holiday. So there's Friday's close at the far left of the chart. Monday's intraday nonsense trading for the holiday. Opened flat on Tuesday, popped up, and that was the high of the week, and that's it. Then we rolled over and closed negative on Tuesday. Gap down on Wednesday, wiggled a bit, closed about where we opened. Thursday, small gap up, closed about where we opened. Friday, small gap or big gap down, and closed about where we opened. So unfortunately, we closed about where we opened every day except Tuesday this week, which doesn't make for a great trading environment. There were gaps on Wednesday and Friday, big ones, which makes that untradeable, and it is what it is. We closed negative for the week. NASDAQ side also closed negative for the week, obviously. All right, in terms of economic data coming out this week, Monday, we got the final manufacturing PMI at 945, ISM manufacturing PMI along with construction spending at 10, Tuesday factory orders at 10, Wednesday, we've got the ADP non-farm payroll, non-farm employment change number, at 8:15. Final services PMI at 9:45. ISM non-manufacturing PMI at 10. Crude oil inventories, that's the weekly number at 10:30. Beige book at 2. Thursday, we've got the challenge of job cuts at 7:30 a.m. We've got non-farm productivity and unit labor costs at 8:30, along with trade balance, which can be a big number, and the weekly initial and continuing jobless claims numbers at 8:30. Natty gas at 10:30. That's an hour into the market. Friday, the big one is the unemployment rate with the non-farm payroll number, and then wholesale inventories at 10 and consumer credit at 3. It's the first week of summer, essentially. Summer starts now. Volume's been light, but it looks like the market is poised for a drop here. So, that could pick up the volume. Obviously, we prefer to see it without gaps. So we will see what happens. Charts as usual, brought to you by eSignal. If you've not yet taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple of weeks. Have a great